Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Triggerman Sidearm mod, which is being made by user Ophelia Neoma. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a new custom animated pistol for the Triggermen to use, and this thing is wonderful. It's kinda just a mashup of a multitude of different weapons in the game, and frankly, I kinda like that, though I'll talk a little bit more about why here in a minute. For now, let's jump on over here and have a look at what we do get with the Triggerman pistol, which in its most basic form will deal just 14 damage with a 45 round with a firing rate of 66, range of 131, accuracy of 66 for a weight of 7.1. And before we leave this image, I probably should point out the elephant in the room. The third person animation is borked. Coming back to the normal world, in first person, it is actually custom animated with the animations, etc. It works great and looks like a pistol. But for whatever reason, in third person, it's still using the old animations from the typical Triggerman submachine gun. So yeah, that's honestly the one issue I actually really have with this gun. Other than that, it's freaking great. Now let's go back into the stats for this thing, and it is just a very cool gun. Like I said at the beginning, it is basically a smash-up of a multitude of different weapons that exist in the game, especially in the modifications. We've got modifications borrowed from all over the shop. And I honestly really like that, as it is a sidearm for the Triggermen, and, well, they predominantly use in-game the normal submachine gun. So what if they, say, just had crap loads of parts lying around, they needed pistols, they'd use those parts. And I think it actually kind of fits well into the whole post-apocalyptic scenario we are living here in this game world. And all in all, it, looks the part and is fun. Now, back to the modifications side of thing, I did mention in the beginning, it has all the modifications. It's wonderful. There are, oh Jesus, several dozen modifications. Just in the sight category alone, there are a dozen sights. Muzzles got over a dozen, same in the receivers. It's pretty darn cool. You can really turn this gun into what you want, so long as it stays a pistol. This is always and forever going to be a pistol. Now, as for how you get your hands on one of these weapons, it is pretty darn simple. Now, first, there are some requirements. You are going to need all the story DLC, so Far Harbor, Nuka World, and Automatron. Now, along with that, you do need a mod, which is the Gun Trait Framework, which is a pretty fun one because it allows you to basically build into the gun through the modification station over there, various legendary sorts of enhancements, so pretty cool there. Now, once you have all of that installed, this is a Triggerman sidearm, so you find them on Triggermen, and that is it. That's the one place in the world you will find them, and it's not exactly rare. You'll find them pretty easily. I spawned in just this one Triggerman here, and he immediately had the gun, so shouldn't take you too long to get your hands on one of these glorious things. So let's jump on over to the weapon workbench and look at just the oodles of modifications. Now in the receiver category, we've got the pretty typical stuff where you go from standard to heavy on up to, hardened and powerful, and we have both semi-automatic and fully automatic receivers. You're never going to get this thing to a huge amount of damage, but especially considering the fully automatic nature, it's still pretty good into, I'd say, the mid-game with some of the other various modifications you can add on to these things. Now, then in the barrel category, we have a number of things here, in fact 8. We've got a short barrel, a finned barrel, a bull barrel, a snub barrel, a Mark II version of the short finned and bull, and finally an integrated suppressor. Now, downside to this one, if you do go with this, you can't add on one of the 15 various muzzle attachments. Those only fit onto all of these. There are a lot of modifications here, it's great. Now, then in the grip category, a few less here. We just got the standard, comfort, sturdy, marksman, and high-tech, borrowing from the alien pistol. Like I said, this thing borrows a little bit from pretty much every gun in the game, and it's great. Now then, the magazine category, we've got the small, a tiny for some reason, a medium, large, huge, and a radium-tipped magazine. So if you'd like to have 30 rounds and also convert 5 of your damage into radiation damage, well, there you go. You can do that. It's pretty great. Oh, wonderful. Now in the sights category, we've got the standard iron sights, a combat iron sight, so just an alternative form there, a night sight, same deal, just sort of the glow sight back there. Same with the combat one. We then have a reflex sight, short scope, aftermarket sight, a CQC, there we go. I don't know why I was reading that weirdly for a moment. A heavy, long, high-tech, and long recon scope. We got a lot of things in here, and you guys know me, I love lots of different sights. It is great. You can basically find a sight for every occasion in this. Now then, in the muzzle category, we have the nothing, a compensator, a muzzle brake, a suppressor, a match muzzle, accurized brake, a flash hider, shield brake, spoke muzzle, oil filter, compressor, rusty brake, radium dish for even more radiation damage if you so desire, a heavy suppressor, a bugle muzzle, and finally, a monolithic suppressor. It's huge, and I love it. It's great. So many mods, it's wonderful. Now then, in this category here, this is really where that gun trait framework comes into play. This is where we can basically add onto the gun a number of legendary enhancements. So we have armor-piercing rounds, cardio training for action point regen, ergonomic upgrade for AP cost, focus for crit damage, hard hitter for bash damage, loaded rounds for more bullets in the gun, and sleight of hand for faster reload. And all of these are going to require 1,000 bottle caps for you to install it on your gun. None of them are too overpowered, they're all pretty normal, which I quite like, and none of them feel cheaty, and you know, with the cost, I think it's pretty neat. And then finally, we have the ability to rechamber this thing. The standard is 45, but if you've got a crap load of 10mm, 38, or 44, you can put those in. And of course, the 44 is also going to slightly increase damage, which is pretty darn cool. And that is it for the, oh boy, lots and lots of modifications. Gotta love it. Let's go take a look at this thing in use, and also go ahead and grab my modified ones over here. Perfect. And let us take some shots. And there we go. A nice smooth reload, a good firing rate on this thing. Pretty much as fast as you can click, you will fire a round downrange. Not exactly the most accurate thing in the world, even when sighted, but you know what? It's pretty good. It does have quite a lot of kick, though. Now let's take a look at the modified versions. I've got this muzzled, powerful one with, you know, good full automatic fire. We are using 44 rounds, doing only 19 damage. Oh boy, but I did add on the armor piercing, so not too bad there. So let's grab that one for full auto fire. We also got the high-tech scope on there. I don't know why I did that rather than like a reflex scope, but let's fire! And it's wonderful. Now I do, of course, like I said, added in the 44 ammo for this one, so it is a bit slower firing than with the 44. You get a little bit more damage, but yeah, it's a little bit slower, though that also does make it a bit more controllable, which I do actually enjoy, because normally I don't use automatics because I am awful at aiming them. Now let's take a look at my suppressed version here, which is not quite the most powerful you can make it, but darn close with the semi-automatic, basically turning it into a kind of low-powered, short-range sniping weapon. Good times. And yeah, there we go. Wonderful. It's just a fun little gun with a good fire rate there. So let's bring into the game, oh god, a death claw. Why am I doing a death claw with a gun that's this weak? But we're gonna do it, see how it all goes. Oh, I'm hoping for good things, but I'm expecting death. I'm expecting death. Let's start with this one, since it is the higher damage of them, though probably the fully automatic one would be better just because it is 100 freaking rounds. Yeah, let's bring that thing out. And Die, Deathclaw! Oh god, I'm all over the place! I am all over the place with this thing. Oh boy, but you know what? We've gotten down like a third of the way-ish. Though, Jesus, to control the kickback on this thing, my mouse was at the very bottom of my mouse pad. From just trying to adjust it. It has a heck of a lot of kick. It is not the most controllable weapon in the world, but honestly, I kind of like it that way. Oh, Jesus, I'm gonna die. There we go. There we are. He's running. That's right, Deathclaw. You run from me, the person with the weak pistol. But you know what? Like I said, I like this thing. It's a weird mashup of different weapons and parts that the Triggermen might have available to them, and just makes for an interesting new sidearm into the game, and, you know, gives a little bit more variety to the Triggermen as well. They'll spawn with these things modified, and they are all over the place because, yeah, the mods for this thing are all over the place. And there we go. We went through a few hundred rounds to kill them, but we did it. And yeah, that's really all there is to talk about with this thing. It's just a fun little mashup pistol that I've been having a good time with. So if you'd like to take a look at this mod for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that, my friends, is going to be it for this one today. Hopefully you have enjoyed, and you do come back for the next one. We'll be looking at maybe another fun mod. But until that time, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.